Hey, welcome everybody to another episode of the Raw Recap here on the Pro Wrestling Sheet. I'm your host, John Rocha. I just recently lost a 24/7 title, so I'm here to host the show. I thought I'd get on Smackdown, but unfortunately I lost it out in the parking lot here at Collider. Joined as always by the CEO of the Pro Wrestling Sheet over there, Ryan Satin. How are you, brother?
I'm doing great. It's funny that you say that. I was one of the few titles I have from my youth, like the little plastic ones, is still the old hardcore belt.
Yeah.
And I almost brought it in. I was gonna have you start the show without me and be like, where's Ryan? And I was going to run in with my hardcore title and hit you, but then I would have had to find a referee. And where do you find a referee that's available at 10 o'clock in the morning? I don't know. The wrestling,
I'm sure there is. Go to the local bar. There's proud to be a wrestling referee there. A lot of stuff to talk about from this Raw. We're trying to condense it all here in this hour. This 3-hour Raw, fresh on the heels of Money in the Bank, which I finally got a chance to watch this morning. Woke up at 5 a.m. to watch the whole thing.
It's crazy that you're able to do that.
I only sleep 5 hours a night, so I wake up and I'm ready to go. That was a fun pay-per-view. Couple of weird matches that I didn't 100% like, but overall, great stuff.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, right?
The overall pay-per-view was awesome.
Yes.
I was the same way because I was traveling from Berkeley back home while it was going on, from Berkeley back to LA because my sister had a graduation this weekend.
Congratulations,
Danielle. My other sister has one today, so congrats, Morgan.
Wow.
But neither of them are going to watch this.
Are they twins?
No.
Oh, okay. They just happen to graduate.
And they're very far apart in age. But one's getting her master's, one graduated from Berkeley in her regular 4-year allotted time period. But anyways, when I came home, I had to watch Game of Thrones. I'm sorry. I know I run a wrestling site, but it was like I didn't want to not be able to go on Twitter. I already had the Brock Lesnar stuff spoiled for me, so and I'd watched part of it at the airport, so I was like, I have to go home and watch Game of Thrones because that'll get spoiled for me so quickly. I watched that, then I watched most of Money in the Bank at night, the rest in the morning. But I really enjoyed the pay-per-view. I thought both Money in the Bank matches were really fun. Yeah. They weren't like long or anything like that, but they were both really fun. The WWE title match, awesome.
Yes.
Kofi Kingston match was great.
Yep.
Kofi Kingston, Kevin Owens.
I thought the Bayley stuff was brilliant.
Bayley stuff was great.
Played out. Becky Lynch match with Lacey Evans was good.
Played out exactly like we said it was going to with Charlotte.
And
we
it's a surprise.
We didn't think the Bayley thing was going to happen, but we definitely expected the rest of it.
Yeah, and shout out to Charlotte for, once again, like, she's willing to be part of the storylines. Not a lot of wrestlers are willing to have those kind of moments at their expense. She has proven over and over again through this whole run over the last few months that Charlotte is willing to lose certain situations to be possibly on top again and have it taken away from her by Bayley. You should give a lot of credit to Charlotte for being open and available to do those kinds of things, because we've heard of other wrestlers who will go home when they're going to lose a match or don't want to go for a finish or don't want to drop a belt. Ironically, Bayley's partner. So those kinds of things, to hear Charlotte kind of be part of it, I was really appreciative of that.
I actually, Charlotte, like we said it the whole time during her feud with Becky, but she really has progressed. Leaps and bounds. Like, she's become so much better of a character. And I don't care what people say, they talk so much crap on her or whatever, but I thought it was really smart the way they played up the whole Becky Lynch thing. I mean, yes, bummer that Becky Lynch is not Becky Two Belts anymore, but it had to end eventually.
Yeah. And if you bought a shirt, you knew that was only a matter of time.
And at the end of the day, I think that, Charlotte's whole cocky character has been playing so well. The fact that she came out and pretty much goaded Becky into the match,
which we've never seen, I don't think, ever.
No, because I was thinking, well, wouldn't they have a match rundown backstage? Like, wouldn't Becky know when the next match is?
Right.
And then the fact they were getting over on commentary were like, no, this isn't supposed to take place till later. Like, Charlotte is pushing her into it.
Right.
I thought that was really smart the way they did that.
Yeah.
All around, I really enjoyed the pay-per-view. Yeah, there were those weird referee mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
It's weird because there was that one last night on Raw 2 where Drake Wurtz, he didn't ring the bell before a match.
Right,
and so the whole match, I was like, well, this match doesn't even count.
Yeah.
We didn't even hear a bell before, and so, and we'll get to that.
Do you think well, we'll see. We'll get to it.
Yeah, we'll get to that for that match. But that's what I was going to say. I wonder if it's a storyline. I'm not sure. Maybe we'll probably discuss during that match.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I thought it was a really good show. I didn't really have a lot of complaints. I was pretty happy with it. Even the Brock Lesnar thing, I didn't hate like everybody else. And it's funny, I had posted this on Twitter, but I was in transit when it happened, and I saw everyone freaking out on Twitter, and I was like, why do I love this idea? I love the idea of Brock Lesnar as Money in the Bank holder. And then I remembered that, when I left TMZ and I had sent a writing sample to WWE with a bunch of different storylines. The one that I wrote was for Brock Lesnar. One of the ones I wrote was Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins, and I kicked it off with literally the exact same thing happening, different participants, obviously, but where someone got injured before Money in the Bank, like the day of the pay-per-view, and Brock Lesnar shows up, just walks down, beats everyone up, and takes the briefcase. So I was like, oh, that's why, because I thought of an idea similar to that a few years ago. So maybe that's what I hated. But I really didn't hate it. And honestly, we'll talk about it now, but you know, the opening of Raw, I feel like it's a perfect example of why people should not have been as angry as they were about Brock Lesnar winning Money in the Bank. Were you angry about Brock Lesnar winning Money in the Bank?
I don't know if I was angry necessarily. I went, oh, yeah, that makes sense. I think more than anything else, I said that makes sense for two reasons. One, the WWE knows Brock Lesnar brings in money, and Paul Heyman says that in this opening promo. He's the box office king. And two, this allows the fans now to feel Brock is a shark in the water.
That's how I feel with it.
Whereas before he was a gorilla in the jungle, now he's a shark in the water. And at any point he could strike, or an alligator if you want to use that analogy, at any point he could strike and destroy the champion and take that belt. And it allows him to go do UFC stuff if he wants to do UFC stuff and still be part of the WWE in some form and fashion. And the fans don't have to get mad that he is holding the belt hostage. And I think it just fits all of what they're trying to do. You have that Fox deal. I mean, it's about to debut. You have the wild card thing. A lot of things come into play that Brock is on your main show once it debuts on Fox. So to me, it makes sense all around. And I understand fans' anger. I totally understand fans' anger because these are people who see Lesnar as a part-timer, and they don't like to see this guy get more and more opportunities when some great wrestlers in this MITB match could have gotten a shine having that briefcase. Ali would have been great. Andrade would have been great. Ricochet would have been great. But I think they're still building. So giving it to Brock is kind of a nice placeholder for now. And maybe next year, somebody from this particular MITV match wins that thing and takes it home.
I also think some of the other frustration comes from the fact that, like, these guys killed themselves for 20 minutes or whatever.
Exactly.
And Lesnar just walks into the match, climbs up the ladder,
to be fresh. Of all people to be fresh.
Like, he didn't even have to come in and do a suplex. He literally just walked in, like
pushed the ladder,
pushed Ali off, and then took it and was like, yeah, which to me I thought was hilarious, but I can see the frustration there as well. But to be, the other thing that you said, with part of the frustration of some of these other guys that could have done more for, when I look at it, I honestly, when I was thinking of who could win this match, I really felt like none of them were really there yet in a way, or we're beyond it. So Ali, Andrade, Ricochet, they're also new on the main roster.
Right.
They haven't done enough yet. They haven't won enough titles yet. I don't know if I feel like any of those three are on the level of are ready to be WWE champion or Universal champion.
Well, the question is, do you think this would have changed if Strowman hadn't gotten injured? Do you think they would have still gone through
I don't know if he is injured. I think it was I think this was. I don't know.
You don't think Strowman's actually injured? Do you think he's just
Who said he's injured?
Well, I thought that's why he was removed from and they had Sami Zayn beat him. I thought he had an injury on his arm, which is what Jay and I were talking about that last week. We thought he had a real injury in his arm, which is why they covered it.
I mean, he wrestled still last night too.
He did. Yeah, he did.
Short, but he still wrestled.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I don't think it had anything to do with Strowman.
So it was just storyline situation.
Oh, I think it was always going to be Lesnar who won the Money in the Bank. I don't think it was like a last minute change or anything like that.
All right.
No, I don't. I also feel like Drew McIntyre beyond Money in the Bank. He doesn't need it to win. If anything, it would lessen his first WWE Championship reign or Universal Championship reign if he has to do it in cheap fashion. Like, Drew McIntyre has been such a dominant force. I don't know if he needs the cheap in like that. Who else was in the match? I'm trying to think who else I'm leaving out.
Orton.
Oh, Finn. Finn's the Intercontinental Champion.
Yeah.
Orton's been there.
Yeah.
Orton is past it. He's already won Money in the Bank. He's multiple-time champion. I don't know if he really needed it. I actually loved his role in the Money in the Bank match.
Oh, he was great.
He was great in that match.
Yeah.
The stuff he did, I was a big fan of. So, I thought the Brock Lesnar thing really did make the most sense, and Boombox Brock is my new favorite thing.
Oh, please, him coming out with that thing like this. That's how Raw starts. He comes down to the ring. Heyman does his thing. Hey, well, remember Paul Heyman comes out, does incredible promo, as always, and then Rollins interrupts, comes down to the ring.
Before you even get to Rollins, just the image of Brock, first the Boombox thing, and then where he was standing in the ring while Heyman was talking, and he was just swinging the briefcase like the happy little kid going with his dad to bring your son to work day with his lunch pail as a briefcase, cracked me. But I was like, oh, look how happy Brock looks. We never see happy-go-lucky Brock Lesnar with his little. Who would have ever known that besides hunting magazines, handing Brock an adult briefcase makes him happy.
Yeah, it does. And it makes him more of a heel. People booed him like crazy. And he basically, by smiling and doing the boombox thing, he is shoving his finger in your nose. Like just going, yeah, you like that? You like that? So it's a bully who knows who can kick your ass and enjoys the fact that he can kick your ass. And he's just swinging it around and having a good time.
And the brass monkey tweet that I put out last night, did not expect it to get so much love. I think it's got like 10,000 likes now. Wow. I was like, oh my God.
That's incredible.
That's a good one.
Yikes.
So it looked like he was listening to Brass Monkey. He even like points at it when the part comes in. It's great.
Certainly possible. But then Rollins, as we said, comes in, interrupts, says he wants to fight him right now. Then Paul stops him and says, interesting, Paul brings up his girlfriend. So I guess we're talking about that now.
Surprising.
Rollins.
I thought that was surprising as well.
Right. Becky Lynch and Rollins dating. Heyman uses that reference. Rollins looked legitimately pissed. Lesnar steps in front, and then Heyman says it might be time for a new day. And then boom, Kofi's music hits. He comes down. They kind of playfully have a conversation about possibly having a challenge that night. And then Lesnar walks out with Heyman saying, "The beast is yet to come," which I thought was a nice little play on words.
I also like that.
Yeah.
My girlfriend didn't. She like shook her. She was like, "No."
Is it a dad joke?
Come on. Come on. I was like, I thought it was good. I laughed at Beast. I like Beast is yet to come. You know, the thing is, it's like, I laughed last night while watching this because I was thinking, it's crazy how we've gone from no world champion on Raw to 2. Yeah. Like now, like it's kind of silly. And Brock Lesnar's there now. So it's like, we got everything now. And I'm assuming there's a reason for that. I'm assuming they want to bump up the ratings. Like, oh, here's Brock. He's here. Not only is Brock here, but you got 2 world champions on the show. My only problem with it is I do feel like having 2 world champions on the show every week does diminish their value. Like, who is the top dog on this show? Is it the Universal Champion? Is it the WWE Champion? If you're both going to be on the show, who am I supposed to be like, that's our guy? Yeah, well, I mean, it takes some time, right? They're both faces, so eventually one of them is going to lose it to a heel, so then it'll balance back out. But for now, they're enjoying the wild card thing. And people are going to hate me for this. Wait, is Brock wrestling at Super Showdown yet?
I heard he is.
Is it not official though?
I don't know if it is. I can look it up real quick.
Yeah, can you pull that up? Yeah. I wasn't sure because I've been traveling and various things. The Super Showdown announcements were kind of passing. Someone went up at like 3 a.m. Is it Brock versus
Goldberg versus Undertaker, for God's sake.
God.
Reigns versus Shane McMahon. That's weird. Triple H versus Randy Orton. Finn Balor versus Andrade. Strowman versus Lashley.
So they haven't announced
and a 50-man battle royal. They're predicting Seth Rollins versus Lesnar for the Universal Championship and Kofi versus Kevin Owens.
My hope of hopes is that he doesn't cash in the Money in the Bank for his title shot. I hope that next week, I think it maybe was teased at the end that he's going to say who he's going to cash it in against or something like that. Is that what they said at the end of the show?
Yeah, he's going to cash it in when he's ready.
I hope that somehow Brock just gets a title shot at Super Showdown without having to use his Money in the Bank contract, because I don't want them just to get. I hate that they keep getting rid of both the Money in the Bank so fast. It's fun having the Money in the Bank out there in the universe, waiting for someone like you said, like the shark who's going to strike. I
think you can argue that what they've done with Alexa and with Bayley worked, but having Lesnar hold
Bayley
it for
more than
while.
Alexa.
Okay, fair.
And I don't know. I like the allure of the Money in the Bank being out there, in the ether.
It's one of the fun things.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah. And so, I mean, I was really hoping that what they were going to do I was hoping that they were going to hold off on Brock versus Seth or whatever. Hold off on Brock cashing it in for Super Showdown, and instead having him wait until the premiere on SmackDown, because if you SmackDown on Fox, because if you want like a big thing to happen on the show, and if you want to solidify that SmackDown is the A show, Brock making his return to that show on the debut and winning the WWE Championship again for the first time in forever would be a big deal. Yeah. That would be a huge deal. That would get tons of pickup, and it would solidify, oh, Brock's on this show now? This is the A show. Brock's their number 1 player. Brock, Roman, they're both on here. Finn, they're here. This is the A show, you know? And then you can do a Brock versus Kofi feud for a little while. I think that's great. It seems like we're heading that way. It wouldn't surprise me if he cashes in against Kofi then beats Seth, and they unify the titles again.
That's certainly possible. I think
seems like a possibility.
I think
once
that's
the Fox
more
thing
in play
happens.
than anything else. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think.
And in order for that to happen, you got to wait a while. Like
Yeah,
he has to wait till you have to wait till the Fox deal kicks in October.
October, right? Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. I hope they don't do it yet, but I did like all of this. I thought it was entertaining.
Me too. I enjoyed it as well. I mean, it's great to have Lesnar back in the mix. It's always fun with Heyman and the promos, so that was cool as well. We move on. We had Sami Zayn and Bobby Lashley in the back having their little conversation back and forth, thinking the other should kind of soften up Strowman for the other one, but it ends up being Sami coming out with his ribs being injured because he was hung up like a crucifix, upside down crucifix rather, by Lesnar. I don't know how he did that, which was really unsettling. And then he goes in there and Strowman absolutely demolishes him in short order. So I don't know. Maybe he's not injured, but it was an interesting decision to make it so quick of a loss. And I get it, he is injured, but or Zayn is rather. So it was interesting.
Yeah, the difference between Sami Zayn on Raw and SmackDown is ridiculous right now.
Agreed. The booking is so different.
It's weird. Yeah. Please just take him off Raw and put him on SmackDown because I hate just seeing him lose to Strowman like this. It makes no sense.
Especially without a promo.
Yeah, it's like you build him up just to quickly beat him back down, and that's like the definition of the 50-50 booking there. Like he's looking strong on SmackDown, but so weak everywhere else. But also at the same time, I get it that he was like supposedly beat up intensely the night before. It's the same thing with Ricochet in the match later. But like, I don't know. I just felt like it was really pointless. Like you literally could have had Braun Strowman do that to anybody. Like
Yeah, I agree. And what do you get here you really undercut what Sami's trying to do with the promos and everything like that. And by having him get destroyed constantly by Strowman, it doesn't help. And you can say he got his revenge, Strowman did, but it was three people against Sami Zayn. There was three people against him.
And then he got hung by Lesnar. Yeah. So I think he got his due.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know how they're going to go forward with this. And I don't know how it serves Strowman at all.
It doesn't.
Give him some TV time.
Yeah, that's what the thing is. Like it really doesn't. This whole thing is not serving either of them well.
Right. The Lucha House Party comes out. Lars Sullivan was going to get an interview, was going to do an interview. Then the Lucha House Party comes out. It's a whole thing. They want revenge for what happened at WrestleMania. At Money in the Bank, rather. And they initially get the jump on Lars for a little bit, and then Lars absolutely destroys all of them. And we go through this whole rigmarole again. I think they're really making a mistake here with Lars and the Lucha House Party thing. We get that he can destroy them. There's nothing new being done here. What's his name? The dancing guy. What's his name?
No
with
way,
Carmella.
Jose?
With Carmella.
R-Truth?
R-Truth coming back over and over again. Sorry, made sense, but this doesn't make, because R-Truth is the Don Quixote of SmackDown. He will keep coming back over and over again to get that windmill. But the Lucha House Party doing this, you're just denigrating them more and more and more, and I just don't think it helps.
Yeah, I don't know if it helps anyone either.
Lars
I think that Lars. You'd think that Lars should be shooting higher on who he wants to view. Like he wouldn't care about Lucha House Party, but I guess they're kind of making themselves concerned with him now is what we were supposed to get from that. But yeah, I don't know if I think this is necessarily the best use of either of them. I liked what they've been doing with Lars.
Yeah, me too.
And yeah, the only thing I can think is that, like, because of the racially insensitive things that he was outed for saying back in the day, that he's now apologized for, and that he's now taking sensitivity classes for, and he's been fined $100,000 for. My only thing is they're like, hey, look, he's working with. He's working with wrestlers
Latino,
of color. He's working with ethnic ethnic wrestlers to show that like they are willing to work with him, that he's not the bad person that everyone thinks he is. That's like the only thing I can think of why they made him against
but he's
three
still
Mexican
destroying
dudes.
These people of color, so it only reinforces his stereotype points of view.
Kalisto bloodied him up at Money in the Bank, though.
He did. I like that.
Shoot elbow, boom, right in the head.
How you like this for your tweets? I would like to.
Or even tweets. It was message board posts from trolling young dude. Whatever, not good. They're all, but it's not a good thing he should have done.
Yeah. Agreed. But I think you make a good point. Maybe they're putting him with this to see where he can go with it. But Lars,
because before it was all singles guys, and it was, it seemed that they were going like the Legends route.
Yeah.
They had the R-Truth thing, and then all of a sudden they dropped. Like you would think, how did he not instantly go into a feud with Matt Hardy?
Right.
Like how was that not instantly the idea of like, he took Jeff out of action, quote unquote. why wouldn't we instantly go to a Matt Hardy thing? And I think that maybe is where Matt Hardy's frustration led. I saw him tweet something that seemed he was a little frustrated over the weekend, and then Revy tagged AEW, something about AEW, and then like 10 minutes later, she deleted it and just tweeted LOL. So I'm guessing that someone told her to take it down.
All right, we move on. Ricochet and Cesaro. What a great match between these guys. What great chemistry. You were excited that Cesaro has new theme music that doesn't suck. But this was a fantastic match. Yes, Ricochet takes another L, who's been taking a little more L's recently than before. But this was an incredible match, and they have great chemistry. And you forget how that Cesaro is like this ageless wonder. He's still wrestling as well now. You could argue better than he was 10 years ago. He looks exactly the same. It's mind-blowing, except for missing a tooth or two. But I like this pairing. I hope this continues.
You know, I like the way they're using Cesaro as a singles guy on Raw right now. I would love for it to continue. You know, from Rey Mysterio to Ricochet, where he's like the base for these small cruiserweight dudes or just guys who wrestle that style. It's a great way of using Cesaro. I mean, he has so much experience doing that already. You know, on the indies and now. So I love the way they're using him. This theme song was, you know, it wasn't like it was flames, as the kids say. I don't know if it slaps necessarily, but it was much better than that crappy one.
That Scott Steiner one, essentially.
Yeah, and it was much better than some of the other ones he's had. So yeah, I was happy with it. I also liked the new effects, the whole green and the it was very Sheamus-like. You know, they tried to kind of keep that vibe for Cesaro still. So I liked it. I liked the way they're using him, and also. You know, the Sami Zayn thing was 45 seconds, that match, or something like that. So playing off of the injuries thing didn't quite work there, in my opinion, of the whole being hung up. But here, I thought they played it up much better. I mean, we saw Ricochet almost kill himself in the match. I mean, that part in the Money in the Bank match when he got thrown over the top rope and then landed through the ladder was insane.
Yes.
Similar. Not the most insane part of the match.
Was the Finn Balor bump the most insane part of the match? Which is
the sunset flip powerbomb.
And then he bouncing off the ladder like that?
It was one of the craziest things. That was insane.
Yeah.
My girlfriend was asleep, and I forgot because I was watching in the morning, so I went like, oh! like that, you know? Like all my dogs turned their head to like look at me. I was like, shh, 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 shh. But so, you know, because we saw those things, as opposed to Sami Zayn, who all we saw was him being hung by his feet.
Right.
It made so much more sense here. I think Ricochet was playing up his injury more and all that kind of stuff.
He had all that K-tape on top of him.
Yes, and so I wasn't as, you know, Ricochet losing and you know, getting some losses in, it doesn't bother me because, you know, sometimes I feel like when you have that, like, hasn't lost yet mentality, it kind of like, then when you lose, it's like, whoa, you lost? So now, like, he's got a few losses out of the way. He's got losses out of the way. It's not like Ricochet is this undefeated, high-flying wonder. He's a really good wrestler right now. And so the only thing I'd like to see is them add more character to him in some way. Like, I think we got one promo from him, but I think we need to see a little more of that side of him now.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. We'll see how if he's been building that up, because remember that's the thing with NXT, that was at times it wasn't the best on the mic, and so we'll see what he does here in WWE Raw.
I'm also loving this new gimmick of Cesaro on social media, like the backstage interviews he's done, and I've seen him in a few other things where he gets asked a question and he just gives one word answer of like, no. And then walks away or whatever, or yes. And I don't watch basketball, but I think that's like is that a thing in basketball that's been happening?
San Antonio Spurs coach Greg Popovich constantly. That's how he answers questions.
I saw a couple other basketball players. People were popping up like.
Were they?
Kawhi Leonard. Is that
Kawhi Leonard?
Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, Kawhi Leonard.
That shows you how bad I listen.
The great Kawhi Leonard,
the great Kawhi Leonard. Oh, man. God damn it.
Oh, by the way, I was at Houston over the weekend. We haven't even talked about this.
Oh, for Booker T's thing?
In Booker T's, when Booker T was part of our show.
Nice.
I got to help Booker T to do something.
Yeah, I was going to say, are you allowed?
I think, well, it was on the live stream, so it's canon.
That's what Christian said. He was, but he was going to send me a clip. I don't know.
Yeah, there was a chair shot. That's all I'm going to say.
That's all I can say.
And the fact that I was in the ring for a chair shot. Listen, I've never been at a wrestling ring. to be able to run the ropes, which they had 2 separate wrestling rings in the back. Those ropes are no joke, people. They're not a joke. They are so strong. And I'm surprised that people don't have massive welts on their backs
when they start.
all the time.
They do when they start.
That's what I mean. Your skin must get used to it after a while and harden up, because I was just running the ropes already and it was like a killer, man. But
I listened to Casey Catanzaro on a podcast interview, and she said that was one of the first things that surprised her the most was running the ropes, and that she had like calluses on her back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's no joke, people. It's no joke.
Yeah. You didn't take a bump?
I didn't take a bump because, people were a little sensitive on the production side about us taking a bump in the main arena. But when we went backstage in those things, I was giving myself bumps.
Flatbacks?
Yeah, flatbacks, and then I was jumping off the top rope
nice.
with the elbow drop. I just wanted to see what that felt like, and I was afraid I'm going to break every rib in my body, but I tried it.
Yeah, one time my girlfriend almost got me a wrestling lesson for like my birthday or something.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, no, that's basically you just signed me up for like a workout class.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
I'm gonna get the shit kicked out of me. I'm gonna be tired. That sounds like a terrible way to spend my birthday.
Yeah, know what it feels like, Ryan? You got to be in that ring. But if you want to do that, Booker T has a thing there. If you want, it's like 3,000 or something like that, and you can go for 3 months, I think, or 6 months.
Reality wrestling.
Reality wrestling. Holy crapola. Yeah, maybe I'll do it if I get crazy. All right, Roman Reigns.
If you're gonna do it out here, Santino Bros Wrestling Academy.
Yeah. All right.
Best one.
I'll do it. God help me. As if I don't give my girlfriend enough to get stressed out about. Roman
You can't watch wrestling in front of your girlfriend. I have a hard time believing she's going to be cool with you taking wrestling training.
Babe, where have you been? Nowhere. Just hanging out with the guys. All right, Roman Reigns entered. People loving Reigns now. Came in, get a nice promo. Shane interrupts him. They have a back and forth. He brings out Drew McIntyre, sets up a match for a little bit later. Did you like this whole thing that Shane's now getting in with the Reigns and all this? And then Miz comes in and all of this. Are we cool with this?
Are we cool with this?
I feel like we're moving away from the Miz McMahon thing, and now Reigns is kind of taking the spot that Miz had.
Was this before or after he said he was done with Miz?
Yeah, well, he accused him of being a spoiled rich kid.
No. Is this before Shane said he was done with Miz? Is this when Shane said he was done with the Miz?
Yeah, he was done with the Miz.
Here's my whole thing. WWE has dragged out Shane versus The Miz for like a year now.
And gave Shane 2 high-profile victories over The Miz.
And we're not ending it in Saudi Arabia where it started?
This is where you predicted it would end, and it's not happening.
And they're saying in the commercials, better than WrestleMania, Saudi Arabia Showdown. Oh, you didn't hear that in the commercial?
What?
You didn't hear that in the commercial?
No.
They literally said in the commercial something like, it's going to be as good or better than WrestleMania.
That's even worse.
Yeah, I know.
As good or better.
I'm almost positive those were the words used.
It's kind of a great thing.
As good or better. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it said.
Good or better.
And so I was like, wait. I thought the whole thing was like, it started at a WrestleMania like super, a Saudi show.
Yeah.
Now we're back at a WrestleMania like Saudi show.
Yeah.
You've built this up for a year. I thought that the reason was because we were coming back to Saudi Arabia, and now you're ending it?
Yeah.
Now you're ending it? I'm like, what? You're literally like 3 weeks away. Mm-hmm. You've been doing this for a year.
Yep.
What?
Yeah, it makes no sense.
That blew my mind. I'm hoping that this was a little bit of a swerve ski here.
Yeah.
And that it's going to be a tag match, I'm guessing.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Right? Wouldn't that make more sense?
It's not right now a tag match.
It's not right now.
Yeah.
But like they did make it look like McIntyre's going to be there.
Right. But even if it's a tag, it doesn't settle the feud.
I know, Rocha.
It keeps going.
I hate it.
Until next WrestleMania, as it'll probably be a hell
It's going to be as good or better than Super Showdown.
I think that should be the promos from now on. Yeah.
I can't believe they haven't called it the Showdown of Showdowns. Like, then it's like similar to the show of shows.
That's possible.
The Showdown of Showdowns.
The Showdown of Showdowns.
Feel free to take that one, marketing department of WWE who's not watching this.
Well, Reigns and McMahon announces that that's what the match is going to be at Super Showdown. It is McIntyre versus Reigns, which is or Shane versus Reigns rather. So
I think it's helping Reigns in the fact that if he keeps fighting with the McMahon family like this, at least you go like, well, maybe he's not the golden boy. Like people will go like, maybe he's not the McMahon's favorite, and it does. I mean, the McMahons are always going to be booed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you want Roman Reigns to not be booed, you put him against someone who was 100% going to be booed.
Right.
So I think that helps. I don't know if pairing Roman Reigns and The Miz is going to help Miz become the face they want him to be at this point.
I don't know what it is they're doing with Miz. I'll be honest
it has to be because of Miz and Mrs.
Yeah?
It's the only thing that makes sense. They want him as a face because they want the ratings to be as good as possible. They want people to like Miz.
I think he could be a great face. Stop putting him with Shane.
That might help.
I think Shane, that's the mistake because it's terrible chemistry. People are not over about this pairing at all or this matchup. And the reason is because...
Although, didn't it get a "This is awesome" chant, the cage match?
Everything gets "This is awesome" now. It does. You fans, don't give me the what bullshit. All of you are chanting "This is awesome" at every pay-per-view, at every house show, at every... It's
they're very different, Rocha.
More annoying to me than the what chants.
No!
Because the what chants are just fun callbacks to what Stone Cold did.
The what chants are being done in an effort to
authentic.
Disrupt the show and mess with the person who's on the mic to see if they've got what it takes.
Yeah, if you've got what it takes.
This is awesome is being like, hey, we appreciate this thing that we're seeing.
No, it's, hey, I want to start this chant too. I want to be part of this chant too. This is awesome.
You cannot be a what chanter and make fun of people for saying other chants.
Well, the what chant is fun to play around with, right?
No.
This is awesome is supposed to be an authentic expression that you actually think this is awesome, not you trying to take part in creating a "This is awesome" chant so that you could be part of the show.
Can I tell you what chant I hate?
Go ahead, please. Other than the what chant?
Well, besides the what chant.
Yeah.
Hate the what chant. The one, but I get why people do it. As much as I hate it, I understand the thought process behind it. I get that there's a sector of fans who like to test the wrestler.
Okay.
The one I hate is when people chant for the company they're watching after something cool happens. When like someone goes through a table and they're like, for example, I'll go to PWG shows and something cool happened and they go, PWG, PWG, PWG. Or you go to another company and they're chanting the company's name.
Yeah.
Obviously because of ECW.
That's the best one.
The ECW one, I get it. It was a moment in time.
That's
I get it.
Yeah.
If you were to chant ECW and something hardcore happened right now, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But I go like, why aren't we chanting for that guy?
Oh, I see.
That guy just did something really cool.
Gotcha.
Why are we chanting for his boss?
Right.
Like, why are we chanting this company name? That guy just did a Death Valley driver through a table from a balcony, which I don't know if you saw that video, but it was crazy.
Yeah.
And then you're chanting for the guy's boss? That guy's boss had nothing to do with that. So yeah, that's my other big pet peeve.
I respect that. But the ECW chants are untouchable.
ECW chants awesome.
Because that was an underdog organization. That's where it came from.
I get it.
And they wanted to get attention. If we hear AEW chants, which I know that's going to happen.
100%.
I don't think it'll have the same effect.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
100%.
It won't be the same, though.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. I don't know.
We'll see. Well, the Usos took on the Revival next. This was a fun little encounter here for the Revival, getting back at them for being made fun of. This is interesting, too, for the Usos because they fought Daniel Bryan and Rowan in a non-title match at the end. What's the point? And won. So what was the point of even fighting it?
And why was Daniel Bryan on the pre-show?
On the pre-show, son.
What are you doing?
Yeah. Did he have to get home?
Like, no offense to 205 Live, but like... You had that match on the main card over Daniel Bryan and Rowan versus the Usos?
I will go one better. Total offense at 205 Live from my end. That should not be on the main card. Sorry, guys. No. That's let's go get beer or hot dog match, and then you go and get your stuff.
But I think that maybe is why they put it on
to give a break to the... Maybe.
That's what I think. They know Daniel Bryan and the Usos are going to get people pumped, you know?
Yeah.
I don't even think it was announced before the pay-per-view. So...
Yeah.
I'll take it, whatever.
Okay.
But yes, this match, I agree with you.
Good match, though.
Great match.
Yeah, great match, fair.
And I think it was proof of why the Uzi hot stuff and the shower stuff
didn't need it.
Are stupid as hell, and all you needed, these four guys have it.
Yeah.
They can go.
Yeah.
They can put on the match that give them 15, 10 minutes, whatever. They're going to make the most of it, and it's going to be awesome. These guys have match of the years, you know, these contenders, the Usos, and the Rival have had match of the years. So, you know, I was watching this going like, yes, this is what we want to see from these two teams.
Right.
This other crap is ridiculous. I was even hating them talking about it on commentary. I was like, just pretend it didn't happen. Just pretend like it didn't happen, because this match is what brings the heat. Like, this is what you want to see.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. Yes. And this is what we've been talking about multiple times on the show of how they're undercutting what these guys can actually do in a ring by putting them in these stupid little promos where they're making fun of the shaving of the back or the icy hot and making the Revival act like idiots, which is not necessary. These two should be meeting on a field of battle at equal strength and going at each other. That's fun. The promos will write themselves. The anger, the organic thing will be there for them because they're four great wrestlers who can bring out the best in each other. You don't need that extra stupid shit that creative comes up with that is a waste of time.
And you know what? Some teams or wrestlers need it.
Yeah.
Some of them do.
Sure.
Like, I'm not going to say like that stuff should never happen. Well, I mean, these ones are pretty stupid.
Yeah.
But I do like the hokey stuff sometimes. Like, I like the fun, jokey things.
Yeah.
It's just like these two teams are not the team that needed it. Like,
No,
you know,
no.
it's one of those situations where I go like, you know, Paul, we were talking about ECW, and I think one of his biggest strengths was finding the strengths in talent and utilizing that strength to its maximum capacity so you don't see the other stuff.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that I think the Revival are bad actors or anything like that, but I just think that you want to maximize the strength of these people. And the Usos' strength was in those dope promos they were doing and these awesome matches they were having to keep their edge. The Revival's strength is being an old school wrestling team.
Yeah.
I don't think either of their strengths are in stupid as shit segments that are just child bullshit. Like
you make a great point, because if we could take a second mentioning ECW again for the second time, but third time, Paul did a great job with it. I mean, Mikey Whipwreck has no business being a star, and he was able to make him a star. Spike Dudley, the Blue Meanie, all these people who came in, and he found a way to make Sandman for
Tommy Dreamer.
Tommy Dreamer, right?
Like, no offense, Tommy Dreamer, but nobody cared about him at the end
until
he made it happen.
Yeah. All these people were getting involved. Who's the big dude with the muscle guy? Mike Awesome? Mike Awesome as well. Nobody expected that kind of stuff, and it all worked out because he knew. You're right. He knew it was rare that someone came into ECW and didn't make a go of it, because Paul knew what to do with them and how to bring them out. And people don't talk about that enough. So it's a great point you bring up. All right, let's move on. The Revival go. They get that victory.
Great.
Kind of a cheap victory, but they get it. So what? It leads to another revenge match down the road.
And that's the kind of stuff that you can build a feud around these guys around.
Exactly. They go in the back and they drip all over Alexa Bliss, who's talking to Nikki Cross, which is brilliant. Who's talking to Nikki Cross? She comes out. Alexa was hurt.
Yes, true. Accurate.
So we can talk about that one.
Yeah. I don't know what the injury was.
For that.
There were, the reports that she maybe suffered another concussion, though.
Yes. Yeah. So that's. You all know I'm a massive fan of Alexa. Having her sidelined again is super frustrating, and she won't be able to wrestle for a while now. I hope they are carving out a front office position for her in some way, either being like on camera in some way, in some character form, more than just this moment of bliss stuff, which really is not working anymore, or some other GM position, something. Alexa is too good to waste as a talent to not have her be some part of something. I could even see her replacing Renee on commentary. I could see that happening.
I don't know about that. They already have only because they already have a wisecracking, attitude-y announcer with Corey Graves.
Yeah, that's good point. All right, that's good point.
But it's funny. I feel like we would have said the same thing about Miz TV 10 years ago, where we would have been like, "This Miz TV thing's just not working," and they have just drilled that home for even the Kevin Owens shows to me are like
the KO show,
whatever, and so I feel like these moment of blisses are here to stay. They've done too many of them now. They clearly this is what they've carved out for her. So I don't know. I agree with you. I don't know if I care about them. However, I did kind of think this was the funniest one they've had in a while.
Good one. This was a good one.
The Iconics had me laughing the whole time. Lacey Evans was good.
Lacey was good.
I don't know if I care about
the Nikki Cross thing?
Nikki Cross being the lackey for Alexa Bliss, but I'm willing to hold out, reserve judgment until we see how it plays out a little. But I did laugh at this segment.
Yeah, I liked it too. I mean, and Becky makes it work. Becky, like everything now, makes the whole world go around. She comes out, she calls out the Iconics. I think is brilliant. The Iconics kind of go back at her when they come out, but she calls them out by saying she's defended her belt more in one night than they have since they won it at WrestleMania. Then they go this back and forth with Lacey, comes out, does great stuff, but then they set up this 6-woman tag match in essence. But Becky says to Alexa, "Don't worry, you're not going to have to do anything."
And Alexa just stood on with the coffee the whole time.
That was great. But then Becky gets the victory over one of the Iconics who just love getting pinned, I guess. So all of this goes down in this way. I liked it all as it worked out. They got their digs in at Becky, but Becky, of course, comes out on top on this whole situation. So I liked it overall.
Yeah, I think Becky needed a strong victory after losing the title, one of her titles. Yeah. And I think that it worked having her in a handicap match, essentially, and still winning for her team. My only problem, that's what I thought is next. This next thing we're going to talk about, the 24/7 thing, it's like, and then we're going to deep dive into it in a minute, I promise. But you just go like, why? Look at the last title you introduced. Yeah. It wasn't on the pay-per-view. Becky's even making fun of the fact of how little they've defended it. Yeah. And now you're introducing another title.
Why in God's name do they have the tag team belt? Again, I will bang this drum until I put a hole through it. Why are they keeping them off defending the belts? Do they not draw? Do people not like the fact that they're champions anymore? What is the logic creatively here? Or is one of them hurt and they're not saying? I just need to know what's happening.
They wrestled, so they can't be one of them hurt.
Yeah, so then what's the logic here?
I don't know. I got to ask around too about it because it's getting ridiculous at this point. I mean,
need you to find out.
The fact that they're the women's tag champions and they're sitting on the watch-along show just the whole time and don't have a place on the show when they're putting 205 Live matches on there is ridiculous.
Agreed.
Like, I look, all respect to 205 Live, but the majority of the audience is not watching it.
Right, and if you want to give them respect for having the belts and stop people like me clamoring about it, let them wrestle, for God's sakes. Let them get pushed to the limit.
I mean, you did it with Carmella. And you've even built up you had started to build up the Iconics versus Kabuki Warriors, right? Is that what they're called? So I didn't get it. I don't get why they're being treated this way either. Yeah. However, like I said, I do think that Becky needed a strong victory, and it shouldn't have been over Lacey because they need to continue that. Right, so I get it. Yeah. I just wish the women's tag champions weren't like being treated like enhancement talents.
Right. Still. I just wonder if they put gauze or some kind of protective material over Sasha Banks' TV when she watches these matches and like when she gets mad and throws shit at the television. All right, let's move on to what was probably our most loathed moment of the night. Mick Foley, who'll do anything for $1, walks out. I'm sorry. He walks out, for the WWE at least. He walks out and he introduces, I just think he introduces the 24/7 title, which is essentially the hardcore title. Yes, I get that you are calling it back by having Mick introduce, who's really well known for having that hardcore title, but to turn it into a clock with no real like design that's exciting about it. It looks like a WWE logo that you would see on the network. I thought was ridiculous. And then having all these people run out to try to win this 24/7 title. And like you said, Ryan, a new belt. We need another new belt.
11th belt now.
11th belt. I feel so bad for EC3 being in this group of people trying to win that damn thing.
I felt bad. I saw EC3 interviewed in like a backstage thing amongst a bunch of people, and I was just like, it's crazy that he's just not used, that he's just back there brimming with talent, not being used whatsoever.
Why'd you call him up?
It makes no sense. Yeah. Here's my thing with this belt. The reason the hardcore title was fun was the 24/7 rule, but I think it was also because it wasn't taken serious.
Right. Like, and it was fun.
It was like literally Vince McMahon took something out of the garbage that had been put tape on it and handed it to Mick Foley, and it became this beloved thing to Mick Foley. You know? So Mick Foley coming out with like a random, beautiful looking title belt, like, yes, I don't love the belt, but I just mean beautiful in terms of like it wasn't the WWE title smashed up with a hammer, you know? I also think having Mick Foley come out and introduce it implied like it was going to be the hardcore title.
Yeah, it's essentially the hardcore title.
It's essentially the hardcore title without hardcore rules?
Right, so that they can keep it, possibly put it on the show on Fox and have it be part of a storyline without necessarily having kendo sticks or sledgehammers or broken glass be part of it. It's just you can win it randomly.
I think it's more so because they want to have it on social, because it seems like they're pulling back on some of the things they're posting during Raw and SmackDown, footage-wise, of things that are supposed to be on the show.
Right.
So I think they're trying to come up with new ideas of like, well, how can we utilize social and the show? And I'm sure, I bet you, like you can already see, like Drake Maverick was tweeting stuff. Looking for our truth and putting wanted posters around. Like, it's gonna help for social, so I get that. I just feel like the 24/7 rule was just like a piece of time, you know, like, and trying to recreate that.
That's what it feels like, right? In a time, Ryan, when we're complaining about creative hitting the same beats over and over again from decades past, they bring a belt out that is essentially a nostalgia for a time past that fit within the Attitude Era. And all you're doing now is cleaning up, putting lipstick on a pig and saying, hey, this is now a new thing, a different thing, when essentially it's the same thing, and making it safer and softer. Is that what people want? I don't think so.
And and it's not like WWE's never done that. And it's not, but like, it's like War Games, for example. Like they brought War Games back for NXT, and they did kind of like make it safer a little bit, you know, a little more streamlined, which isn't the worst thing, but I just feel like it's very obvious, in my opinion, that they have all these guys who. They've got a bunch of guys from the Attitude Era back. You know, they've got Bruce Pritchard, they've got Jeff Jarrett, and they're like, hey, remember how great the hardcore title was? We used to love that. Great story vehicle, great story device.
Go get
helps
Russo.
Fill time. Blah blah blah. I've honestly been wondering if Vince Russo is like secretly collaborating with WWE once. I don't know.
Anything's possible right now.
But it's weird. It's just like, it just doesn't feel like something that people wanted.
You
know, like I
don't think they wanted it at all.
And not only that,
and the reaction has told you that.
Yeah, they're like booed. Not only that, but you know, there's that company DDT Pro, and they have that Iron Man Metal Heavyweight Championship. And a few years ago, like Joey Ryan had that title, and he was doing those videos on social media where it was basically the same thing, 24/7 hardcore title, and everyone was pinning him for it. And they were all these like fun videos that did well on social media. It feels like they're just trying to redo that from a few years ago. It's like, well, Joey Ryan did that on social, and granted, he doesn't have the same reach as WWE, but it does feel like a little bit. I don't know, just even though he was copying them, it feels like now they're copying what he did a few years ago. And I know that he's not the only one. There's other ones who have the title's still in existence or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. Like, he did a really cool one where it was done all in his imagination, and it was like Candace pinning him in like a doll form. It was really cool. So there was like really cool stuff. So I mean, if they're gonna get really creative with it, I like it. But what they did here last night did not show me that they're gonna get really creative with it. They had Mick Foley come out and do a promo that didn't make a lot of sense. Then he pulled out this kind of ugly, but I don't call it a beautiful belt before, but like
it's a boring belt.
It's kind of a boring belt, you know.
Green.
It's like a weird circular thing. I didn't love the belt. I meant beautiful in terms of more beautiful than the old hardcore title. People booed, and then he's like, all right, here's the title, someone come grab it. And you're like, what? That doesn't make a lot of sense either. And then like Titus is just because he grabbed it?
That's
not a lot of effort put into that.
No, it was almost like it's an XFL thing where when they threw the
oh my God,
that's
I didn't
what
even
it
think
is.
about that. It was like the
it's
XFL
the
scramble.
It's the scramble at the beginning of the game. That's what that was. Vince totally stole that from his own idea of the XFL scramble. It's
oh my God,
it happened.
I haven't seen anyone put that together. That's exactly what it was. Vince definitely was like, how do we do it? XFL scramble. That's a great idea.
As soon as I saw him do it, I'm like, this is the XFL scramble. This is ridiculous. And they all come out slamming into each other. And ironically, a former football player wins it, Titus O'Neil. So that even puts the nail more on the head that it was the scramble.
I didn't even think about that. That's hilarious.
And then Robert Roode comes out, beats him. And then, of course, R-Truth ends up winning that thing and takes off to SmackDown, which will show up in some storyline tonight, I'm sure. But look at the people involved here. Cedric Alexander, Titus O'Neil, EC3 EC3, which is a shame. Eric Young, remember him? Mojo Rawley, Carl Anderson, and No Way Jose are all different. And Gallows was involved as well. So all these people were involved in this situation. When they did the hardcore title back then in the 90s, it was all established stars already. These are people trying to be established, which makes it feel desperate as opposed to fun. And that's the mistake they're making here. Is the optics and the look of it is terrible for them overall.
Well, we don't know what to do with these 20 guys, so
Yeah.
let's just have them all run to the ring like it's NXT season 1, where they had to like run around with barrels on their back to show they're cool.
Why? If you win this title, does this make you want to stay over going to AEW? I wouldn't.
Money-wise, depends on what you think. You know, we don't need to get into that conversation again. But anyways, with the 24/7 thing, I agree with you that it's not the same. It's not gonna be the same. I give the title a year, maybe.
Yeah.
Right.
If that.
Yeah, I don't see it lasting for long. It didn't. No one cared last night about it. And furthermore, like even when they showed, I think it was Robert Roode running through the backstage area, being like, "Nobody, don't tell anyone I was coming this way," to Baron Corbin and Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
They didn't even care about the title. They were like, "Okay, whatever."
It's beneath them.
It's beneath them. Yeah, exactly.
They could care less.
Not the coolest thing.
Right.
Not into it. However, I will say this much: there are a lot of people who didn't watch wrestling during the Attitude Era. They weren't alive during the Attitude Era that watch now. Or people just didn't watch. Like my girlfriend, she found it very entertaining. She was like, this was a new thing to her.
Wow.
This was a new concept to her. And never heard of a 24 title. So when she saw people running around, she's a huge R-Truth stan. So when R-Truth ended up with a title at the end, she was pumped. She liked the way it all went down. So at the same time, the less critical types who like to just sit back and enjoy, I guess, might like this, and we're being a little too hard on it.
But there's no prestige to it. No one of any real note's going to win this thing. Until they do, I don't think you've got legitimacy to this belt. That's my point of view.
I think if you do this, I agree with you.
Yeah.
To make it cooler, they got to have someone win it. No, they got to have someone win it, and that person destroys the belt and makes it the hardcore 24/7.
That's certainly possible.
Because it's not the 20. Like, if there's no hardcore element to it, you don't say the hardcore thing. It's stupid.
Yeah,
it's very stupid. In my opinion.
The way to make it more interesting is if you start bringing back wrestlers from the past to try and win this thing. Because apparently anyone can do it.
It's got to be Patterson and Briscoe.
Patterson and Briscoe.
I really want Patterson and Briscoe to come back and win the 24/7 title.
Pat Patterson's still alive? I thought he passed away.
No.
Okay, my
Pat
fault.
Patterson and Gerald Briscoe, man, they're both alive.
Terry Funk's still alive.
Yeah, but I mean, because of the whole Stooges, they were hardcore champions a bunch of times in the Attitude Era. I want to see them get it again.
The Stooges were the best. I love the Stooges.
R-Truth, former hardcore champion.
That's true.
When he was
You're
Quick.
You're right.
I agree with you. The Legends thing might help.
Yeah, or bring up NXT people to try to win that thing who are trying to establish themselves.
See, I didn't like when they said the NXT UK and the NXT and all this. It's like, these people need to get themselves, establish themselves. Like, I don't know, like Pete Dunne's one-time appearance on Raw or whatever, I don't know if that did anything for him. Maybe point. Upped his level on the indies a little more, or not to the indies, it raised his awareness to a larger group of people, but also like they've done nothing to follow up on it. So I don't really necessarily like when they do these one-off appearances from NXT stars. I don't know if anyone gains from it.
That's a good point. You look at the people who've won it before. Oh my God, there's so many.
Yeah, don't even try and look at the list. Remember how quick that title used to change hands?
That's right.
We had 3 champions last night in the first night. Also, we should talk about real fast before we got to move on here. The third hour thing. Mick Foley really kind of like slid it under the rug when he said it, but he said the third hour of Raw is going to be more dirty and more adult almost. He didn't say those words, but that's the vibe. It was kind of
great,
almost like the old Raw's War versus Warzone days. And then they dimmed the lights for like the last hour of the show. They had the crowd lights down. They took all the like stage lights off and just had the Raw logo up. It had a whole different look to it the last hour. I don't know if they're going to do that. I think they need to drive it home a little more.
Okay.
I feel like they need to say last hour for adults.
Yeah.
Because that would help. I do think that would help.
I don't disagree with that.
And also when I was a kid, loved the one that was more intense.
Right.
Like I loved when I was part of the
of course,
more gritty hour.
You could stay up later to watch the grittier hour.
Loved it. So I think even kids who aren't supposed to like technically be watching it should, because it'll make him a little cooler.
Road Dogg has been a former hardcore champion.
I can't believe you're looking at this list.
I want to see. Matt Hardy has been a former champion.
Scroll to the bottom and see how many there were. That's the real number.
Oh, God. Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Mary, Mother of God. 240. RVD being the last one.
And how long was that for?
From 2000. Oh, my God. From 1998 to 2002. For 4 years, 200 holders of over 220 holders. Oh my God, 240. Bradshaw can come out of retirement. Stevie Richards held it. Raven held it. Tommy Dreamer.
A lot of former hardcore champions.
Bradshaw. Ooh, that's certainly possible.
Patterson and Briscoe. Bring them back.
Oh my God, Sean Stasiak. Yikes. Just Incredible. I remember Just Incredible.
I just jinxed it. I know that Patterson and Briscoe are going to come out in dresses next week, just like the old days, and they're going to win it, and everyone's going to be like, you did this, Ryan. It's your fault. All right, let's get to the next one.
Let's
we got to get
on.
out of here.
I know you got to go. All right, anyway, that was a fun conversation. Miz and Drew McIntyre went at it here. Essentially a handicap match. Drew McIntyre gets the victory over Miz. Does this do anything for you? Reigns comes out and saves them. Nothing.
Yeah, I don't know if people are going to care about the pairing of Miz and Reigns. I did notice Miz trying a little harder to wrestle like a face in this one.
Yeah.
Like he did a Hurricane Rana.
Right.
When has Miz ever done a Hurricane Rana?
Good point.
It was like when Cena busted out a Hurricane Rana for the first time and you were like, wait, you don't do a Hurricane Rana.
Right.
What was that?
What are you trying to do?
But it wasn't bad. It was more just like a whoa scenario. They're trying to make Miz a face. To me, it's not necessarily working. But I people seem to like it, so I don't want to hate too much on it.
I don't know. I just let Miz be a tweener. That's where he lives.
But even as a tweener, I like Miz when he's really bad person.
Yeah, okay.
Bad person Miz is good Miz.
All right, fair enough. I mean, The Rock was able to be a tweener, Stone Cold as well. There's got to be a way to make it happen.
Are you comparing The Miz to The Rock and Stone Cold?
I'm saying that there's a legacy of being a tweener to making it work.
I know,
Miz could do that.
Is Miz on the level of The Rock and Stone Cold?
I'm sure he would argue that he is. I'm sure the WWE would argue that he is. Yeah, when they try to give me Cena and Flair as a comparison, give me a fucking break.
That is a more accurate comparison.
You're an insane person.
He's been the face of the company for as long as Ric Flair was in WCW and stuff.
Nothing against Cena, but he ain't Flair. Not even in the conversation.
To some people, he is.
Not even Hogan.
To young people who weren't around for Flair, he is.
That's fair. I'm sorry for you all. All right, no DQ match. Seth Rollins and Kofi Kingston taking on Baron Corbin.
John Cena is one of the best wrestlers of all time.
I'm not saying, well, I'd say.
Oh, yeah, we're not going to get into this again.
Yeah, let's not. We got to go on. He's got 6 moves. All right, Baron Corbin and Bobby Lashley took on Kofi Kingston and Seth Rollins. This was a fun back and forth, good match for the most part. But in the end, what happened is both Kingston and them got the victory, reaffirms Kingston even more. It's so ironic. It feels like they have to keep making Kofi win because if he shows one crack in that armor, the avalanche of people who are waiting to jump on him being not a credible champion will get unleashed.
I think you're right 100%. Yeah.
That bothers the shit out of me, man.
And that's why I'm actually a little bothered that they feel like they have to keep pairing him with Seth.
Yeah,
because
to get him over.
Yeah, to get him over. That he needs Seth to be
right.
He needs to be on the same level as Seth at all times. And I get it, he should, but I don't know. It's the two of them tagging all the time or being like constantly together isn't working for me.
No, he's still overshadowing Kofi.
Yeah.
Seth is still, it doesn't help.
No.
It's still overshadowed, and that bothers me too, because I think Kofi is killing it on SmackDown.
Me too.
And so, to bring him on Raw, let him kill it on Raw. Give him a chance.
I don't think he's needed on Raw.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point.
You have a world champion on Raw.
Yeah.
You have a world champion on SmackDown. Keep them apart. Each show has their pillar.
Yep.
You don't need... I don't think, as I love Kofi Kingston.
Yeah.
I don't think that there is anyone who is watching Raw strictly to see Kofi Kingston because they're like, Kofi's going to be on. I'm not going to watch. I'm going to tune into Raw now because I wasn't going to before.
Right.
There's no one who's watching wrestling for that reason.
Kofi's not that kind of champion.
No, he's not the one who's making people turn the channel.
Right.
He's a great champion. He's awesome, but I just don't think that there's solely Kofi Kingston fans who are just like, oh, Kofi's in. Well, I wasn't watching Raw before. No, every Kofi Kingston fan was watching Raw already.
Yeah.
And I just think, like you said, it's kind of like oversaturating the Kofi Kingston department. It's like Kofi Kingston should be treated, his run should be treated with care, not like, well, we have to keep doing all these things to show that we're woke. That's how it feels sometimes. It's like, no, just let Kofi be the guy on Raw. Let Seth be the guy on SmackDown. wild cards can still happen, but I just don't know if like the champions need to keep showing up on the other shows.
Yeah, it's starting to get a little convoluted.
Yeah, because then you're like, no, now, because when you have 11 titles, now that there's 11, it was okay when they're separated.
Right.
But they're starting to not be separated now. And then you're like, well, now there's 11 titles.
Yeah.
And, you know, Jim Ross said it best on Twitter the other day. He said, right now, the titles have never meant less than they mean right now in wrestling. And it's true.
That's a shame.
You can't even name some of the wrestlers, some of the who are the champions sometimes because they change and they're not used.
Right,
and it's
right.
like, they're so unimportant, you know, that they need to be more important. And I don't think having 2 world champions makes either title more important.
Well, that's what I like about, and I don't want to throw it in too hard, but that's what I like about when we're doing with the Schmodown. There's a singles title, a tag title, an inner geekdom title, and a Star Wars title. That's it. Any other titles are made up titles or not real titles, or someone built them to try to create a title that doesn't exist. And so to me, that's great. It's limited titles makes you winning them more prestigious, and then people chasing them, they make it more interesting. But you're right. Too many titles, it starts to swamp the situation and it becomes boring.
Yeah, absolutely. You know? It's like, you know, people might get mad at me for this, but it's, you know, title belts are a prop. You know, title belts are technically a prop in a TV show.
They're a prop that help you in your legacy and help you get over with the fans, but yes, a prop.
But if there's like the same prop, that they don't even look different. They all are like the same, they're all just different colors, but they have the exact same look. You're just like, oh, cool. It's just like the Power Rangers all having different morphers, you know, like each one's a different color, but it's not like there's anything that makes them stand out from each other.
And I would say this, there's no socialism in titles. And by that, I mean, every title is not the same. So logically, you have to start lowering the ranking of the titles if you have that many titles.
Yes.
It means nothing for you to win the 24/7 title. It means something to win the singles title. So there's a difference. So naturally, you're denigrating the other titles by introducing more titles in the situation.
And also, it's like, well, if the WWE champion and the Universal champion are on the same show, it's like, well, which one's the one I want to go for? What's the top one?
Right.
You know?
Right. That's a good point.
I don't know.
Which is the one you're really pushing?
That's the problem.
As the top belt. We'll see. All right, well, that's our Raw recap here on the Pro Wrestling Sheet. Thanks, everyone, for taking time to watch and listen to us break down everything that happened last night on Raw. My name is John Rocha. That's Ryan Satin. Ryan, will you tell them where they can find everything we do?
ProWrestlingSheet.com. That's the website where you can find all the top stories in the world of professional wrestling throughout the week. I've been a little travel-y the past week or so because I had Mexico, and then I had to travel for my sister's graduation. Today I have to go to my other sister's graduation, but I'll be back full force tomorrow, handling everything as usual, breaking stories and all that kind of stuff. So check out the website, ProWrestlingSheet.com, at Wrestling Sheet on social media, YouTube.com/C/Wrestling Sheet. That's where all the videos go, and you can check us out on all your favorite podcast platforms. Just search Wrestling Sheet Radio.
There you go. And you can find me at The Rocha Said, at The Rocha Says, find him at Ryan Satin. And we will see you tomorrow for a SmackDown Live recap on the Pro Wrestling Sheet. Until then, take care, everyone. Have a great Tuesday.
ProWrestlingSheet.com